Over the next several days, the family cut windows in the rocks allow the cross current for coming air and sunlight for the enter the cave. And that they finish their work, they had their 4 rooms for that their family, and that there is a complete with the fireplace. Then they had make it the new winter home also. Next, because of the low light, the cave house they had built felt oppressive. To remedy this, father and Jack racked up a new light. They found a bamboo pole that would reach from the floor to the ceiling. Then, after securing it, Jack climbed to the top of the pole and hung a large oil lamp which they had rescued from the ship. And that the low light, there is a created for that the low light in that the cave, and that this they had built a felt distressing. Oppressive means distressing. And the father and the Jack racked up a new light, means they want to the in the cave new light, means they found out the bamboo pole, and for that this bamboo pole they reach on the floor for that the ceiling. And then after securing, Jack climbed on that the top of the bamboo pole, and that he was hung a large oil lamp on this bamboo, and they had reduced from the ship. Next is one day they found that the one of the family's huts had been completely destroyed, and the cultivated fields around it had been trampled and ruined. There were big footmarks everywhere. Father saw massive damage to trees, always as many hug footprints, which is he identified as belonging to a elephant's hair. And that the one day they found that the one of the family's hut had been completely destroyed for the, and also cultivated fields also destroyed. And in this field, that one of the elephants heard danced and ruined of this farm. Ruined means destroy all these things. There were created hug footmarks everywhere in this field, and that father saw that massive damage of trees always and many hug footprints, and they identified of the belonging this the foundation, means we are called to that the in Marathi mandap, for that the trees. And the trees were equal size for that equal size, and there is a 12 feet apart, and that they built another safe home. 10 years passed. Young boys were now young men, and their parents were very proud. They called the island New Switzerland. Many adventures occurred over the years. The 10 years passed away, and that the young boys were now that the young men also. And the William and Elizabeth, these parents were very proud of their son, and they called the island a New Switzerland. And many adventures occur over the years, means they are lived on this island. On the shore of another island, Fritz had knocked down an albatross which was threatening to attack him, and found a rag tied to the large bird's leg. On the rag was a matches that the Englishwoman had been stranded on the smoking rock. Fritz had no idea how to old the matches was. His father suggested that smoking rock sounded like reference to a volcano, since there were no volcanoes in the vicinity. The bird might have come from hundreds of miles away. However, Fish felt that someone needed his help, and he was determined to do his best to find the Shanda. Before returning home, he had written his own note on the ridge, retired it to the albatross legs, and had watched the bird fly off. The note told whoever received it, "Do not despair. Help is near. Fritz then successfully rescued the young woman Jenny Monstrose, though Sir, at first soon she got used to living with the Robinson family. In this para, that the shore of the another island, that Fritz had knocked down that the albatross. Albatross meaning is a large long wick, a seabird also. And he Fritz had knocked that there is a large seabird also, which was threatening to attack him. Means the seabird attack on that the fridge, and that the fire and found a rat tried to sigh. At first, soon she got used to living with the Robinson family. In this para, that the shore of the another island, that Fritz had knocked down that the albatross. Albatross meaning is a large long wick, a seabird also. And he Fritz had knocked that there is a large seabird also, which was threatening to attack him. Means the seabird attack on that the fridge, and that the fire and found a rat tied to the large bird's leg. And on the rag was a message that to the English woman had been stranded on the smoking rock. Means rag means we are called in Marathi chindi. Hmm? And then Fritz had no idea how old the message was. His father suggested that, means he was not a get idea this message was a how many days were. His father suggested that smoking rock sounded like a reference to a volcano. Volcano means you know that we are called to Jwalamukhi Udrek. Since there were no volcanoes in the vicinity, means in this island there is not a created any volcano means nearby, and since there were no volcanoes in the vicinity, the bird might have come from the hundred of miles away, and that this time that the Fritz felt that someone needed his help, and he was determined to do his best to find that the sender. And he was returning home. He had written his own note on the rag, retired to that the seabird's leg, and watched that the bird fly off. Help is near. Fritz then successfully and reduced their young woman. That young woman's name is Jenny Montrose. That though shy at first, shy means snarry, then she got used to living with the Robinson family. Means Jenny uh, living with the Robinson families. The next one day they saw a ship which had laid anchor, and encampment had been set up on the one of the smaller islands. After checking the people though through their spyglasses, Fridge and his father decided to announce themselves after they had that massive damage of trees always has many footprints, and they identified of the belonging these footprints for that the elephant's herd, means that elephant's baby. The next morning the family began to design a new defense to discourage all wild animals from entering their cultivated lands. They also finalized their ideas about new residents rather than building a house of stilts which the elephants could knock down easily, that would use for strong trees growing in a square near the another as a foundation. The trees were of equal size, approximately 12 feet apart. Thus they built another safe home. And the next morning that family began to the design new defense of the discourage to the all wild animals, means they are created new design, not any wild animal destroyed to this design. For that their cultivated land also, yeah, hut also, and that this family finalized their ideas of the new residence. They are built a new house for that the using the stills also, and that these elephants could knock down the easily of these stills, and they would use for four strong trees growing in a square near one another as a foundation. Means one by one the trees making the foundation, means we are called to that the in Marathi mandap, for that the trees, and the trees were a equal size for that equal size, and there is a 12 feet apart, and that they built a another safe home. 10 years past, the young boys were now young men, and their parents were very proud. They called the island New Switzerland. Many advantages occurred over the years. The 10 years passed away, and that the young boys were now that the young men also. And the William and Elizabeth, these parents were very proud of their son, and they called the island a New Switzerland, and many adventures occurred over the years, means they are. He was returning home. He had written his own note on the rag, retired, retired to that the seabird's leg, and watched that the bird fly off. Help is near. Freeze then successfully and reduce their young woman. That young woman's name is Jenny Montrose. That though shy at first, shy means Snarry, then she got used to living with the Robinson family. Means Jenny uh, living with the Robinson families. The next one day they saw a ship which had laid anchor, and encampment had been set up on the one of the smaller islands. After checking the people though through their spy glasses, Fridge and his father decided to announce themselves after they had returned home and cleaned it up. They did not want the crew to think they were savage. The next day, Fridge and his father met to the captain and told him their own history as well as his Janie's. To everyone's surprise, it had been Jenny's father who had inspired the captain's search. He believed his daughter was still alive. After 3 years, the captain had decided to attempt to find her. And one day, the family saw the ship which had a lead anchor, and that this time that the encampment had been set up one of the smaller island. After checking the people through their spy glasses, after checking all the peoples for that their spy glasses, and that the fish and their father William decided to announce themselves after they had returned their home and cleaned it up, and they did not want to crew to their to think they were savage means cruel. And the next day the Fridge and his family met to the captain and told him their own history and also Jenny's history. And to everyone is very surprised that for that Jenny's father who had inspired to the captain search, and then he was not believed that his daughter is alive. For that the 3 years, the captain decided to attempt to find her. His captain said to the Jenny's father he was find to the Jenny. And with the evening timing that the father realized, William realized that he was making the one of the decision must be made about who wanted to stay on the island or return with the ship. Elizabeth and her husband did not wish to live everywhere but on the island, and Elizabeth and William did not wish to live anywhere also. They want to live on that the island. They had been there for long and had grown used to their life. Jenny asked if anyone would support her return to the England. And Fritz was the first to respond. He offered chairs for us who were going to Europe. Ernest, on the other hand, wanted to stay on the island. Jack also decided to stay back. Franz, the youngest boy, decided to join Fritz to living. Franz wanted to chance receive academic education before Fritz left. Told his parents of his love for Jenny and his wish to marry her. And their family also had been there for so long and had grown used to their life. Means family want to that William and Elizabeth want to live on that the island, and there that young children grow up. And Jenny asked to that the everyone for support her return to the England. That Fritz was the first given to the respond to the Jenny, and he also cheered to the all peoples who were going to the Europe. Ernest, on the other hand, wanted to stay on that the island. Jack also decided to return back also. And Franz, that youngest boy, decided to join to the phrase to living. And Franz wanted to complete his academic education. Yeah, also receive an academic education. Before that, phrase left the left, he told his parents of his love for Jane and his wish to marry her. Her father had kept a record of all adventures they had had on the island. The father had kept all record which is are created on that the island, for that the all adventures they had to on the